Greetings, seekers of alternative truth and admirers of national inconsistency. Welcome to this corner of pure sarcasm, where today we're going to break down the latest stroke of genius from our brand new doctor, who seems to have confused international diplomacy with a college alumni reunion from the Faculty of Philosophy and Letters. Without a doubt, logic did not accompany the manager of the National Palace on her trip to Spain. Let's get to it. Even if they try to sugarcoat it and twist it 1,000 ways, this can only be called the Red Nostalgia Tour. But is it diplomacy or political suicide? Because look, while the whole world is holding its breath, because the orange lion is on the loose and just waiting, anyone who steps a little out of line gets swiped at, and he's sharpening his claws in the White House, ready to put the next customer in their place. Our dearest little prez, Claudia Sheinbaum, has decided that the best geopolitical strategy of the 21st century is to go to Spain. But don't think she went there to negotiate investments. No, the lady decided it was the perfect time to go to the Socialist International to take a picture with Pedro Sanchez and all the cream of the crop of the outdated left of Hispanic America. Exactly with all those Trump himself has in his sights, as we say here in Mexico. It's a trip with absolutely no common sense behind it. It's fascinating to see how the data processor in Claudia's head works. I mean, assuming such a processor exists. Imagine the scene. The USMCA is hanging by a thread, tariff threats are an everyday thing, and the border could turn into a Mad Max set at any moment. What does the supposed head of state of the world's 12th largest economy do? She goes to a leftist convention to raise her left fist and smile for Instagram. The only ones missing were dictators Diaz-Canel and Nicolas Maduro. And they didn't go because one of them is so nervous he's got his balls up to his Mickey Mouse ears since he could be kicked off the island at any moment, and the other one is in orange pajamas enjoying his 5-star stay in a New York cell. But if not, both of them would be there too. Maybe there are some who would call this an act of rebellion by Claudia. Wow, how brave. It's like watching a wildfire approaching your house and deciding it's the perfect time to go out into the yard and pour gasoline on the fire. I would call it more of an extreme sport. Look, you have to be really special, not to say kind of dumb, not to realize that we're right next door to the most unpredictable guy on the planet. Donald Trump isn't exactly known for his love of multilateral consensus, or for his patience with governments that like to play at being coffee shop revolutionaries. Going to that meeting in Spain is literally like scratching the lion's balls just to see if it roars. And let me tell you something. When that lion roars, everything in Mexico shakes and it even gets diarrhea. The billion-dollar question for Claudia. Who's going to solve the USMCA problem for her when Trump decides he's tired of Mexico hanging out with the progressives who call him a fascist every 3 minutes? Her powerful allies. Let's take inventory of who is there to see who's going to stand up for her when the flatulence gets unbearable. Spain? Pedro Sanchez has more governance issues than a neighborhood WhatsApp group. Colombia? Pedro is more focused on avoiding a drug trafficking investigation than actually governing his country. Brazil? Lula, who's having political disputes with Trump over the case of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Uruguay, which is so irrelevant that Claudia couldn't even remember the name of its president. Wonderful countries, no doubt, but in trade negotiations with the United States, they carry about as much weight as a feather. Seriously, Claudia, do you really think Petro or Sanchez are going to go to Washington and tell Trump, "Hey, Donald, don't raise tariffs on Mexico because Claudia is our friend"? Come on, ma'am. Trump couldn't care less about what they think in Madrid or Bogota. This is an ideological whim that could have serious consequences. What we're seeing is the replacement of realpolitik with high school dogma. While the world is moving toward fierce economic nationalism, Mexico decides that its best calling card is to be the leader of a club of countries that, even combined, don't even make a dent in the United States. The USMCA is at risk, a treaty that is the lifeblood of our economy, being treated as if it were a campaign flyer. The uncertainty is total. Investors aren't looking for photos of socialist camaraderie. They're looking for stability and a neighbor who isn't picking unnecessary fights with their main trading partner. But waking up is going to be painful. It's very easy to play the Mexican Che Guevara when they haven't cut off the flow of dollars yet. But reality is stubborn. Sheinbaum doesn't seem to understand that sovereignty doesn't feed you, And ideology doesn't pay the bills for the automotive industry or for the farmers who depend on the border being open. So, dear cultured audience, that's how it is in the land where nothing happens. Let's hope the photo is worth it because it could be the most expensive souvenir in the history of Mexico. What a wonderful government we have. Expert at winning ideological battles, it loses the war in its own country. Be careful, don't hang out with people who confuse diplomacy with a UNAM rally like I do. And above all, don't even think about messing with any lion unless you have a better plan than asking the lefties for help.
You can make your donations via PayPal. Find the relevant information in the comments section.
Thank you.
Thanks to you, this channel is still active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications every time there's new content. Thank you.